Yeah. So the documents serve as like, they're primary sources through testimonies. The documents are, backing up sort of everything that Carlos was telling me.
Yeah. What was that document you sent Steve?
Yeah, Steve, if you can pull it up. I've got I sent 2 documents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see which one is this one. So this one is from Francis Mullen. He was the administrator of the DEA in 1984. This is a letter of correspondence directly to Noriega. So if you notice, there's it's gratitude, right? I commend you for your initiative, and I look forward to our continued working relationship and our mutual endeavors. This is from the administrator of the DEA in 1984.
Francis Mullen.
Yeah. And I've got hundreds of these letters in the book. So you see it says ether.
Wow.
So ether ethyl is a component in cocaine production, and drums of ether used to pass through the Panama Canal on shipping containers coming from Germany. That was like one of the main countries where a lot of this stuff came from. It used to pass through and it used to come to Colombia. Or somewhat like Peru and Chile and basically everywhere in South America, because the other ingredients came from like Bolivia and like all that sort of stuff. It just like all converged in this one region.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it was like Panama's job basically to detect when ethyl used to come through the Panama Canal. So that explains that. And then this is another, I've got, like I said, hundreds of these, but this is from Arthur Cedillo. He wasn't like an administrator, but his job was to like communicate with Panama, with Noriega. Colonel Noriega, this is, talking about this guy, Orlando Cabos Escaraja, fugitive from New York office, took place in 1975. So there was constant monitoring. You know what I mean? Like information was being shared constantly between Panama and the United States through Noriega. The interesting thing about this is that this is from 1978, and Noriega wasn't even the leader of Panama. In 1978, it was Omar Torrijos. So, and I'll tie this in, but there's a major conspiracy in this whole story that in 1981, the leader before Noriega, Omar Torrijos, was mysteriously killed in a plane crash. And afterwards, Noriega becomes the leader of Panama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Yeah. So
who did we have on that was talking about this?
Either Sheehan?
No, it wasn't Sheehan. It was the gentleman who was the guy who was he was going from country to country, convincing the leaders of other governments.
Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Yes.
John Perkins.
What?
Perkins?
Yeah, yes, that's Perkins. Who it was. Yes, the economic hitman. He was partying with these guys.
Yeah.
And he basically said it without saying it, that the CIA basically made his plane crash.
Popped him. Yeah, so there's two trains of thought, both of which involve Noriega being involved in the assassination, that the CIA basically said, hey, Manuel, take care.
Because he wasn't willing to play ball with the U.S.
No, because Omar Torrijos was a socialist. He was like a Maduro or like a Castro. He had left-leaning ideals, and he had a complex relationship with the CIA in the United States because there were 2 coups in the late 1960s. It was 68 and 69. In 68, it was this guy Boris Martinez and Omar Torrijos who overthrew Arnulfo Arias, the leader before, who was like an American-backed leader. The US were basically just waiting to see who ultimately came out on top. And when they saw that it was those 2 guys, they were like, well, we're going to choose Boris Martinez because Omar Torrijos is a socialist. He doesn't share the same values as America does. So Torrijos is sent away. Torrijos is in Mexico, and Boris Martinez announces himself as like the leader. There's a little bit more to it, but basically Martinez becomes the leader. And then Noriega, Carlos was there too. It's all in the book, but Carlos and Noriega and a group of guys sneak Torrijos back into the country. They go to an empty airstrip in the Chiriquí province in Panama, which is close to like Costa Rica. They fly Omar Torrijos back in. They use their headlights on their cars to light up the airstrip. No lights. Flies in. They take Torrijos. They come back. There's another coup in 1969 where Torrijos comes out on top. After 1969, when Torrijos is the leader of Panama, he refuses to communicate directly with the DEA, with the CIA, because he knew that the CIA didn't want him in power and actively tried to overthrow him.
Right.
So instead of communicating with Torrijos, the CIA communicated with Noriega, his head of intelligence. So take takes us to 1981, where Torrijos dies in the plane crash. Two frames of thought, whatever you say.
Wasn't his whole family on the plane too?
No, it was
just him.
I think it might have been his wife as well, but there wasn't a lot of people on the plane. But Torrijos, they said his plane crashed into the side of a mountain. Carlos said he was there at the wreckage and he saw that it did crash into the mountain.
He was there.
Some people say that his plane, eyewitness reports say that they saw his plane explode in midair, and then the other sort of conspiracy is that this, and I spoke to an air traffic controller about this, that back then, or maybe now, but back then when you had low visibility, the plane sort of had this almost like sonar system where there were like beacons all over the country that they like sort of project these like sonar images, so you could see like the outlines of things. So you could see like the outline of like these mountains, right, on your like sonar device within the cockpit. Whatever, I'm not doing it justice, but you know what, you kind of get what I'm saying. But if this air traffic controller was like, if you move one of these beacons, it projects a different image on your sonar device, like within the cockpit. And a lot of people think that the beacons were moved for Torrijos' flight intentionally so that the mountain that they crashed into appeared further away than it actually was. And so they just flew right into the mountain on it like a foggy day. Now,
what a great way to do it.
That being said, there's obviously more to it. I'm sure somebody listening to this will do their research or have read a book and they're like, oh, Cillian, like you missed this, you missed that. But the coming back to the outcomes, what was the outcome of this?
Right.
The CIA's guy steps into power in 1983. He steps into power, and then all of a sudden, they don't have the middleman to worry about anymore. They don't have to worry about Torrijos, the guy that they don't communicate with at all. They only communicate with Noriega. So now they're communicating with the de facto leader, the dictator of Panama. And if they want something done, they just go right to the source.
Wow.
Interesting, right? Like it's an old story that I think it highlights the framework that the CIA used to use with like all of their sort of foreign affairs or whatnot, like with Saddam Hussein and stuff, like building someone up, using them, and then taking them out, like weapons of mass destruction, like that whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope I did that justice. But
wild
that's
shit, bro.
Yeah.
What are you working on any other projects, or you got any plans for future projects?
I wanted to go to Cuba and do that. Yeah. I have a feeling that it's not going to work out, which is fine. I'm working on an sort of like an IRA adjacent story in Ireland about this guy, Nicky Kelly, who was wrongly convicted of being a member of the IRA in the 1970s, and he fled Ireland, and he basically, like the crew that were accused of being in the IRA and sort of committing this crime were proven innocent. And so Nicky came back to Ireland after fleeing, and when he came back they threw him in like a terrorist prison, and Nicky went on like hunger strike for like 37 days or something. And it's like a really incredible story, but that's like a passion project for me. This is like an Irish thing. I would really like to do another Latin American project, so I'd really like to go. I think El Salvador is interesting. I think Bukele is an interesting guy.
Yeah, he is.
And then I really like the sound of Argentina as well, and sort of the political changes that they've been going through for quite a while. But the instability in Latin America, I think it's very interesting, right? And I think it all sort of stems back to both American imperialism and then European imperialism as well. Like that's the whole thing with like the Monroe Doctrine.
Yes.
You know about that? Yep. Yeah. I find the Monroe Doctrine like very interesting, both from a European perspective and from like the American perspective, where essentially people are just like carving land in Latin America to extract resources and that whole thing.
Yeah. And it ties into like what's going on with Ukraine and Russia right now, right? With NATO basically putting military bases all around Russia. Yeah.
It's like, this shit happens all over the world, and so much rising tension and conflicts that are erupting that have been like boiling for quite a while. And I think I'm definitely not alone in thinking this, but like we're at like a boiling point in the world. That's what it feels like,
it does
anyway.
Feel like that.
Right? It's like a boiling point. So I think that this is the outcome of something that I want to trace back to its source. And I think I just have to be like specific with what I want. I don't know quite yet, but Latin America interests me a lot. I really dig it.
Yeah,
down
man.
there.
It's fascinating shit. Fascinating history. That's cool what you're doing, just turning over rocks, trying to find shit that no one's looked at.
Totally.
Trying to find a new angle to it.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.